Hello everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to the Road to Glory career mode. As always, I hope you guys are doing well. I switch your attention to a couple of news articles as we begin today's video. The first of which was late drama from Sane, which steals a Manchester City win. If you missed that, that was in the last episode, and we lost the game with seconds left on the clock, which led to the second news article talking about our unbeaten run coming to an end. And there was an interesting point that the media made. It was around us having an ego, which I completely disagree with. I don't think for 1 second we've had an ego since we've joined the Premier League. We've been pretty humble in our performances, and I feel like we've just taken it game by game, and at no point have we got ahead of ourselves. So I was a bit annoyed with the media portraying us having an ego, if you will. And at the end of the day, you know, we were unbeaten, but so what? There was a time that was going to come to an end. We were never going to have a crazy unbeaten run, so I'm not really disappointed by it by any means. But 5 games anyway coming your way today, starting with a couple of post-com games, first of which comes against Bournemouth right here. And the first goal of the game, I feel like, was completely down to Bournemouth's, I'd say, not wanting to put the ball out of play. You might have seen it. Philip Billing had the ball, right-hand side, sorry. Martinelli was trying to attack. Billing did really well initially to win it off him, but then didn't want to put the ball out to give us a throw-in. Lost possession. We scored. But Bournemouth, to their credit, fought back. And a man we know all too well from our very short Bournemouth career mode on this channel, one which I still haven't finished, by the way. Apologies for that. I might get around to finishing it by the end of FIFA 20. Scored to make it 1-1, and it felt like we were in for a draw. However, following a top save from their goalkeeper, on hand was the main man himself, our number 9, Cristian Solano. Right place, right time. 2-1 Forest Green, but it is a real good stop as well by their keeper. I kind of felt a bit bad that he didn't end up getting the plaudits. Well, he still gets the plaudits for the save. It's just, unfortunately, the goal still happened. As I show you the match facts from that game, though, look how close it was. 3 shots, 3 on target to Bournemouth 2 and 1. And we won the game by 2 goals to 1. So, yeah, what a result for us to get there, especially given the way that the game played out. And straight out of that one, we did a bit of training, and you might have noticed that Moore has now grown to 73 rated. So he's 1 behind Joe Hart. But I feel like Joe Hart deserves the number 1 spot this season. For what he's done for us in the early part of this season, I'm going to be sticking with him at least until the end of the year. And that's my plan anyway, just because he's played so well for us. So I feel like he deserves it. But the second and final post-com game of today then came against Fulham. I looked at their side and I thought, easy, no problem. We should end up dominating this game. But I could not be further from the truth. They battered us in the first half, and Karamoa here nearly made it 2-0. Bradley Dack, by the way, must have played his best Premier League game that he's probably going to play all season against us. He got 2 goals in this game, and for the first half, we struggled really to get going, but we did actually get a goal back half an hour into the game. Lopez gets inside the penalty area, gets it onto the right foot, and finishes it into the bottom corner to make it 1-1. But I just didn't feel like we were playing our best during this one, and a lot of that was down to the pressure that Fulham were putting on us. As you can see here, 49th minute, the ball goes through, Karamoa on the chase, Facer does really well initially to get back goal side and make the challenge, but then we play the ball straight to Fulham again, who create a chance from this. Bradley Dack lets the ball go, Karamoa leaves it towards Bradley Dack, and there you go again. So he gets his second of the game, and I was just sat there going, what is happening? I'm getting outplayed by Fulham, a side that I fully expected we beat looking at their team. And it took 10 minutes before time before we were able to find an equalising goal. Solano again got it, but I'll tell you what, this was not an easy game. So fair play to Fulham. And I kind of was happy when full time was sounded and we came away with a point. I know looking at it we should win the game, but the way that the game was, I was very happy with that point. Let's jump to live. We welcome West Ham to the new lawn for our next game then, and we sit in 8th place at the moment. A win could take us up to 6th, but if you look at the table, it feels like it's been fought out on 3 different sort of areas. You've kind of got the top 5, if you will, or the top 4 even, from Chelsea to Liverpool. There's 10 points between them, and then it kind of drops quite a few points behind, where there's Everton all the way down to probably 12th place Aston Villa, and then below that, it's the teams fighting for relegation with Crystal Palace on 14, and then West Brom making up the first of the relegation places on 9. But there's some good news for us as well. Cristian Solano now holds sole spot of the top goals in the Premier League. And that's really cool to see. But I'm not sure if he'll stay there come the end of the season. We'll just take it game by game and see what happens. So let's get into game against West Ham. Solano, De La Vega makes the move down the right-hand side. There's no changes for us in this game. And Pedro De La Vega might just get the first chance. It's thumped towards the keeper. And on the rebound, Solano sees his shot blocked. We might have the league's top scorer, but West Ham have got one of the most informed strikers at the moment. And yeah, it's Yusuf Poulsen, 5 goals in the last 3. And you might remember, I think it was the previous episode, we saw a handball, and I forgot to check if the handballs are actually switched on. So that's my bad, because it looked like there could have been another one there. But Lopez will get this corner, and we'll see if we can make something happen from it into the near post, but it's away by Blanco. Lacerda skips past the challenge and finds De La Vega. Lacerda's back in the middle, instead goes to Solano, who gets his 12th for the season with a smartly taken finish in at the near post. And we lead here then. I feel like this is going to be, comparing it to the Fulham game that we played, where I actually genuinely struggled, West Ham, the way they've set up their team suggests to me that they don't actually feel like they're going to get a result here. They're playing very nervously, so they need to change that. Otherwise, they might be in for a bit of a difficult afternoon, as Solano's already scored after 27 minutes. We've got to stop West Ham from creating a chance here. Todibo can't quite do it. It's off the woodwork, and the ball bounces back to Chukwueze. And it's a brilliant save by Joe Hart. How we haven't conceded there, I do not know. What a stop with his left hand. Solano with the hold-up play, feeds Lopez for number 2 maybe. Diego doesn't miss these. And it is 2-0 Forest Green. Solano has added so much to his game this year, and you saw it today. The goal, the hold-up play for the second one as well. It's quality, it really, really is. And he's putting an early shout in to potentially being the player of the year, although I think if we don't win the title, that doesn't help his case at all. But I will say, for the most part today, West Ham's most dangerous player in Yusuf Poulsen has been isolated up top. They've not really got the support around him, and that's the difference between the two teams. We've got our striker who can hold up the play, but we get players up there to support him. On the other side of that, West Ham really haven't today. Hugill into Rojas. Rojas towards the edge of the penalty area. Chukwueze with a chance to strike one. And again, it is our goalkeeper who makes the difference. They must have surely thought that was at least something back in the game. Does everything right, but it's the fingertips of Joe Hart to make the stop. It's a corner ball then. 5 minutes to go elsewhere. We've got Newcastle next and then Manchester United. They're both facing each other right now. And it is Newcastle 3, Man United 2. I don't know what's going on with United this season, but their struggles continue. Hugill off towards Poulsen. Back to Hugill. And another save for Joe Hart, who wants this clean sheet. 2 additional minutes by the referee here. And I really hope we get it just for Joe Hart's sake, because that's now 3 saves he's made in this game. And they've all been pretty good saves at that as well. A minute to play. West Ham still on the attack though. Cardoso, left-hand side. And with his playing the ball back, that should be the end of the game. Referee, you had a chance to blow your whistle there, mate, and you haven't done. And that cross into the middle is blocked. And there you go. Forest Green 2, West Ham 0. It's a great win to pick up against someone who's quite close to us in the table. And now we go to Newcastle, where I think it finished 3-2. I'm not actually too worried about the Newcastle team, as it's on your screen right there. They did just hold on to beat Man United by 3-2. But looking at it, I feel like we're the better side. Having said that, I thought that earlier against Fulham, and that proved to be quite a difficult game. There is one change for us. El Ghazi comes in for Martinelli on the left wing. Other than that, there is the same team that you just saw win 2-0. As you look for the same or a similar result here at St James's Park. Che Adams up against Todibo, and he's got past him as well. And actually, that's not what we planned for. Che Adams skips past Todibo, and when he's bearing down on goal, we can't even complain at the fact that Hart hasn't made a save because he's been so good. And there's nothing he can do against that. The question mark is though, oh, what are we doing? We just allow Che Adams to walk through. I tell you what, it is one heck of a finish from their number 9. That is real quality. But the fact of the matter is, we should have never allowed him into that position in the first place. Lacerda finds Lopez. Lopez to El Ghazi. We need this to be finished if we can. It is a tremendous stop from their goalkeeper. And how we are not 1-1, I'm not sure. This game is proving to be a bit of a frustrating start, and I sense that Newcastle now are just going to sit back and try and defend this 1-goal lead and hit us on the counter, because it feels like they're just sat so deep and limiting the amount of space that we've got to work with, and they're doing a real good job as well of keeping our creative players quiet so far in this first half. Gerard Moreno off to Fernandez, cross into the middle. Should be easy for Jose Antonio, and is. Lopez now. Oh, come off it, man. You've got to find a better pass than that. Yeah, frustrating this first half. 2 additional minutes by the referee. El Ghazi here, trying to open up the space. He's done rather well. Can he find the shot at the end of this? Yes, he can, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. And that will end off the first half. There's just so many bodies in that box of Newcastle that we can't find a way through. I feel like we're going to need to try and hit one from distance in the second 45 to maybe find an equaliser. Equally, do I just push to a 4-2-4 now? Because they're not really showing too much intent in the way of attacking. St. Maximin and Adams combine, and he should have made it 2-0. As glad as I am that hasn't gone in, we should have been out of this game with that shot right there. And I've got to commend the work that's been put in defensively by this Newcastle side. Oh, that's so bad by us, by the way. That was actually meant for Godfrey. As annoying as it is to play against with how good they've been defensively, it is... Oh, wow. St. Maximin's just hit the post. It is incredible, the work they're putting in. But I just don't see how we find a way back into this match right now, because I can't break them down. And there is full time, ladies and gentlemen. It finishes Newcastle 1, Forest Green Rovers 0. I'm so annoyed by how that game played out. I'm not like salty or anything, because I still feel that you have to credit how good Newcastle were defensively. But it's so frustrating to concede so early on and then spend 80 minutes trying to break down 10 players who are sat behind the ball only looking to counter. You know, it's so annoying. But fair play. They got the win, and they probably deserved it with how the game played out. We weren't good enough. We didn't find the quality to break them down. And with Man United coming up now then, we'll see how that game pans out. Alright, now I see why Man United are struggling this season. Their starting 11 is there. I missed it when the teams actually come out, so I'm showing you it through this. I'm not sure who's on the bench, so maybe they've got some quality on the bench to bring on. But looking at their starting 11, yeah, that's not a side I thought I'd be facing. And I genuinely think they're just that weak. I don't think like they're resting players or anything like that. I just think that that's their actual team. There is a couple of changes for us. Gravenberch is in for Lacerda, and also Martinelli's in for Pedro de la Vega, because this game's a couple of days after the Newcastle game, so I had a couple of fitness issues, so we've had to change around a few players, as we're already looking for a chance. Godfrey will find Lopez on the return, and they seem to not know how to defend against this early doors yet, and Duarte will block it. I need to make sure handballs are on for next episode. Jesse Lingard through to Iglesias, and the first shot for United. It's a simple save for Hart to make, but he had to make it nonetheless, as it will be a corner ball for us to defend. Into the near post. Facer nearly turned it into his own goal. That would have been so strange for us to have conceded through that. Martinelli, good touch here. We'll return the pass back to Lopez. We turn it into a counter-attack, do we? Not quite just yet. Solano, though, will now look for Martinelli. And he was close, but Sommer came to claim the ball. Lopez spots the run of Solano. Will he find him, though? Solano may have just battled his way through to a chance anyway on his own completely. And that is what he does best. He wants to have a little scrap with the defenders. He loves a bit of a physical battle. Cristian Solano comes out on top and fires it into the right corner of the goal with the left foot. And Forest Green lead at the New Lawn. What a goal it is as well. Look at the battle that he's having here with United's number 5. And at that point, he sizes up Sommer and says, which way am I putting this ball? Near post, far post. He chooses the latter. And it's a phenomenal strike as well. And that is a great response to our game against Newcastle. I feel like when we play against teams that are willing to attack against us and don't sit back, we actually play better. I don't know why the reason for that is. But when we have to break teams down, admittedly, when you go a goal down after 3 minutes like we did when Adams scored against us, that doesn't help. But when I have to sort of break teams down when they're sat deep, I seem to struggle with that. But what a goal. Martinelli into the feet of Solano. Solano has a couple of options to use. He chooses to go to Martinelli, who's kept hold of it really well. And Solano's in again! Oh, big stop by Sommer. And is it half-time? Yeah, it wasn't offside. It is half-time. And that save could prove to be pivotal for Manchester United if they go on to get something from this game. Saigankov to Alenya, and Todibo makes the block to deny Alenya a shot on target. We've got seconds before we move into added time. Feder Shalov is a change for Iglesias. And with a United corner, can we defend it? I don't want us to lose the lead we've got here right at the end. Joe Hart will punch that one away. But it's only as far as Alenya, whose shot rises over the crossbar. And should now, if Joe Hart just smashes this up the field of play, end off this game. There is the clearance towards De La Vega, who not only wins the flick on, but finds Solano. And full time, we claim a victory against Manchester United. Albeit, you think that was a, great result. But then you see how they're playing this season. We fell to Newcastle, who beat them moments before that. So, yeah, we can be happy about it. But it is a bit of a weak United team. Now then, where does that put us in the league table? We'll find out in just a moment. Before we look at the table then, some news I forgot to show you. Gelhardt actually came to us and has now handed in a transfer request. So in January, he will be leaving the club. He's decided he wants to play games. I totally understand it. He's never going to start ahead of Solano. So fair enough. And for the table to end off the day then, we are into 7th. We played an extra game than a couple of teams, or a fair few teams actually around those. So, yeah, if Arsenal win, they will move back into 7th, and we will be back in 8th. But that's the lowest we can fall. We're also a point behind Everton and Spurs, but they do have games in hand, so we'll see what that brings next time out. For the top of the table, Liverpool still top it, still unbeaten as well. Watford falling into 3rd. A win would take them back to 2nd, though, and down the bottom half of the table, West Brom, Fulham, and Wolves all make up the bottom 3. And when you consider that 2 of our draws this season have come against Fulham and Wolves, you then question if that could have been wins, that would move us into the 5th place, I think it is, or 6th maybe. Where was it? Was it actually 6th or 5th? Yeah, 5th. So, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed to see that. Wolves are having a nightmare season. To make matters worse as well, Jota's obviously not there anymore. He started the season with Wolves, but he's now at Chelsea. So they've lost him. I don't think they'll survive the drop this season, especially the way they've started. To lose 15 of 16 games is really, really bad. Leicester down in 15th as well. And some really surprising teams not performing this season. But my friends, that ends off today's video. A massive thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, a like would be greatly appreciated. As always, a huge thank you as well for all of your support on the channel. If you are new around here and like what you see, hit that subscribe button down below. And I will see you all again with the next episode very soon. Until then, have a great day. Have a great evening. Stay safe, people. Adios.